Oh, fine, thanks, Steve.
Just to give you a bit of a heads up around the selection, first, Rico wasn't considered because he's been crook all week. Hasn't been able to train with us. Waisaki, whilst he's passed the protocols for the concussion, Doc and the selectors don't feel that we should be risking a player so soon after concussion, so we've given him another week to recover. Muller is the other person we brought in, obviously for the replacement to Sonny, and the choice was either start him or bring him onto the bench with his experience, and we felt that his experience and later in the game will be better suited to us than at the beginning, so hence the selections. Open for questions.
Steve, what you've seen over the past few weeks on and off the field, what gives you the confidence that Jordie Barrett will more than handle himself on Saturday?
Look, he's very good aerial, so they're going to give us plenty of high ball catch. He's a good defender, and he's get his positioning right. We worked hard on that with him. He's a very skillful rugby player, no doubt about that. So he played well enough for the Hurricanes against the Lions, and we're excited. Bender obviously not being available, and then the other two wingers not being considered. He's in. And do we have confidence? Yeah, we do. We wouldn't have picked him in the first place if we didn't, and he comes from a fairly good stock, so I'm picking he'll go all right.
He doesn't seem to get flustered like the other two, who also don't seem to get flustered, correct? As in the Barretts.
Yeah. Well, no, look, he's pretty cool, calm, collected kid, and we wouldn't have put him there if we didn't think he was up to it, and he's a young man who whatever he does on Saturday is just a big one. He's just going to get better and better. He's still under 20, so but he wouldn't be put in a position if we didn't trust him, and we do, and I'm sure that after the game he'll put a performance in that he'll be proud of.
Who goal kicks in the first instance?
Oh well, it's a good question. We haven't asked either one of them who wants to do it, but I think they both probably want to do it, and usually when there's two brothers, the older brother gets to go first, so that'll be probably the case.
The fact that Jordie does have an increased range, do you think that could be advantageous, a bigger range?
Well, if we get anything from 50 to 60 out, he'll probably have a crack. Yeah, he can kick along the ball.
Steve, what pushed Ngani ahead of Malakai? Was it just his form, and was there thought given?
Well, Ngani's the guy that we see as going forward is going to play a big part in our selection process, and we've got a lot of confidence in him as well, and his all-round game we think slightly better than Miles. That's why we picked him in the first place. With the original selections we also had Sonny and Crotts available. We don't have them available, so he's probably getting pushed up the ladder a little quicker than we want, but again it's a great opportunity for him, and he's an experienced athlete who's played a lot of big time football for various other codes, so he'll do a job for us too. We're very confident that he'll front it up.
How have you been feeling this week?
Pretty good. I mean, it's not the first time we've lost. I've read a lot of stories this week which you'd think that the All Blacks have never lost a game, and that the world, the sky's falling, and every week there's pressure. Like I've said this before, we're expected to win every test match, and when we win, we're expected to win well. And you've got to embrace that. You've got to walk towards it, and at the end of the game, life tells you that we're really only playing a rugby game. Like real pressure is when you've got to spend half an hour trying to get someone to, give them CPR and trying to save their life, and then when that doesn't work, telling their children or their father or their mother that sorry, we haven't been able to save them. That's real pressure. Like what we're doing is playing a game of rugby, and when you look at it. What are the outcomes? We could win it, we could lose it, we could draw it, but we'll be a better team for it. We're a young side who are in the infancy of where we're going. So, is there any more pressure this week than last week? No, because we've got to win the series. So just enjoy it and look forward to it, and that's what we're doing. We haven't really changed our week too much, if at all. Is there a little bit more angst? Probably is, because we lost and we don't like that. But the format hasn't changed too much.
Steve, what have you been getting Julian to work on at this time? Obviously played against Samoa, but you haven't used him in test 1 and 2. Have there been specifics you've been
Yeah, we have, but that's between us and Julian. I'm not telling you guys, then the Lions will know what he's going to try and do on Friday night. Well, he's not a bad replacement, 53 test matches and 46 tries. Not too bad to be able to pull a bloke like that out. And that's why we have confidence in doing it. You know, you don't want to risk people that have been laid up in bed all week and don't know your game plan, or conversely, you know, with Wise, yeah, we could have played him if we really wanted to, but at the end of the day, concussion's an important thing. So yeah, we just want to give him another week to make sure.
Seems as though you're putting a little bit more heightened emphasis with regards to the concussion. Anything that has brought that on?
No, we've always taken the attitude that we'll take it seriously, and yeah, it's a well documented fact that it's probably happening more because people are reporting it more, and we're more aware of the outcomes of it. So, you know, Doc is well versed in the concussion protocols, and you know, we've talked about it with him, and he's recommending another week, so we're supporting him. And at the end of the day, that's a choice we're making as a team.
I guess I'll rephrase it. You're not saying that you haven't been taken seriously, but you seem to be going above and beyond the set protocols that are currently there.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, again, you can do that, and you've got the class of people that you've got sitting on the sidelines. You know, it might be a little different if we didn't have a Julian Savea or sitting there waiting to go. As I said, he's a pretty good replacement. Most people wouldn't mind him.
Steve, how did Ngani pull up after last Saturday night, and you know, what sort of discussions have you had with him or Ian?
Yeah, he pulled up pretty good. Bouncing around, he's excited. I mean, a difficult situation for him to come on. I mean, yeah, the guy he looks up to gets red carded, he gets put on under difficult circumstances, and you know, played probably a lot more minutes than he expected to play. So he learns out of that and gives us plenty of opportunities to talk to him about his game. And but the big thing is he's just got to trust his own instincts, because his instincts are what have got him there. And he's trained well all week, and he's excited, and as all the group are, to get out there. You know, Saturday can't come around quick enough.
Steve, what are Ngani's adjustments defensively? Because I think a couple of times he shot out of line, didn't he?
Yeah, it's just a matter of working in the system. But, you know, all players can make those mistakes. Muller can make them. Anton Lienert-Brown can make them. Even made a few himself when I played there. So, no,
sure.
We make mistakes, and you can't crucify someone for making a mistake. What you've got to crucify them for is they continually keep making the same one. And you know, I don't think he'll do that.
Romain's been touch judge for the first two tests. Romain White. Will that help? He officiates the
Well, he's
game?
not touch judging this week, is it?
No, he's refereeing.
So refereeing and touch judging totally different jobs. You know, your ref is looking at what's happening around the ball, and your ARs are meant to be looking at the offsides and the off the ball play stuff. So
Have they been looking at that? Enough?
well, I don't know, you've been watching the game as much as me there, Seb. This is not about having a crack at the refs. If you want to have a crack at them now, mate, you go right ahead. Don't bring me into it. Because I've told you all publicly that there's a process. And if I've got any concerns with the ref, I'll talk to the ref.
Steve, you did some interviews in the British media though where you did have a crack. You said you were disappointed that some calls weren't made in the second test. So, I mean, you are,
British media?
the Telegraph has run a story, the UK Telegraph, saying that you were disappointed that some things in the Wellington test were dealt with from a one-on-one interview they did with you, clearly.
Well, I don't recall the interview, so I can't comment
Okay.
on it. But if you get me the paper, and I'll read it and I'll come back to you.
Steve, you said you've kept this week the same. The Lions have been bungee jumping. Are you reading anything into that?
No dangerous sport, no bungee jumping. I wouldn't do it. Look, they're at the end of their season. We're at the beginning of theirs. And whilst we're in the moment because we're in the series and it's a decider, we've still got to be planning for the rest of the year too. There's more games to be had after this. Do the Lions play any more games after this? No. So, you know, they can afford to try and freshen up and so they can get ready to come and play another physical game. We've got to keep building our understanding of what it is we're trying to do and how we do it. So I can understand why they've gone and tried to get a bit of R&R, but you know, we're not at that stage in our season.
Out of interest, has Sunnyvale stayed with the squad this week?
Yeah, it's been an important part of the week.
Steve, there have been reports out this morning about a bit of an altercation at training. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I read that one. I don't know where that came from. I mean, I've read a few things this morning that have just come out of nowhere, and that's one of them. There was no fights at training.
Talking about physicality though, how important will Julian Savea's added physicality be this weekend, and will you look to use him as maybe a runner off 10 or 9?
Do you want me to ring Gats and just tell him what we're doing, or? Look, we know he's a big man, so his physicality will be good. I'd like to see him beat a few people, that'd be good too. But it's going to be a physical test, has to be. Every test match is one up front, and you know, we won the first one up front, they won the second one up front. So whoever wins that battle on the weekend will probably have a smile on their face.
Steve, some people have compared Saturday's game to a World Cup final. Where do you think it ranks alongside that?
Look, they're doing that because of the so-called pressure that they perceive that comes with it. At World Cup finals, achieved by getting out after you've already played 2 finals. You play a quarter final or go home. Or if you're in the right to turn up on Monday after that quarter final, you play another one. So by the time you get there, you've played 3. This series is about who gets the best out of 3, and at the moment it's 1-1. So one that takes all, I guess. So from that point of view, it is the same as the World Cup, but in every other aspect it's not.
So would the achievement of beating a British and Irish side not be as satisfying as perhaps winning a World Cup final?
Beating anyone is the same. I'm not sure how you feel about competition, but this team likes beating anyone. And so we take, as you know, like it's called a test match regardless of who you're playing, because it's a test of you mentally, physically, your skill execution, and how well you can prepare regardless of your position. So at the end of that week you can sit back and you may have won the game, but you actually haven't achieved those things the way you wanted to. And you may lose the game, but you have achieved. And if you get beaten by a better team, you get beaten by a better team. If you win, you know, there's always the satisfaction, I guess, of having won. But at the end of the day, it's how you go about doing that is the most important thing, because you've got to keep one. Doing it once is not enough. Is the Lions Series hugely significant? Of course it is, because it only happens once every 12 years. Will it define this team? Will it define the people in this team? No. Because there's a heck of a lot more of the story to be written. But what it will do, win, lose or draw, as I said before, it will make this team stronger. And that'll be good.
Steve, you talked about the physicality. There's been a bit of niggle in the first 2 tests. There's the potential, I guess, for that to carry on in the opening 20 minutes or so of this test match. Do you talk to your guys about staying calm and, you know, avoiding a bit of a stink in the opening sort of frame?
I don't think there's been any niggle in that.
I think there's
been a lot of physicality, but there's been no fighting. Is that what you mean by niggle?
Yeah, niggle.
You have to explain me what niggle is in your mind to what it means in mine.
Will you talk to your guys though about staying calm and that, particularly in that first 20 minutes?
Well, you said something about off the ball stuff. What do you mean by that?
Off the ball stuff?
You just said off the ball shot.
Did you see Marco Vunipola's shot? Did you see?
Well, there's no point in me talking to our team about it because we're not doing it.
No, but you can react to those things as well, can't you? I'm asking about your team's reaction to those.
Look, we've always been a team that, and again, I don't want to get into a tit for tat thing because you guys are good at writing that up. I've got no problem with what the Lions are doing, and I've got no problem with what we're doing. We just got to go out there and own our little piece of the dirt individually and collectively as a team, and get some go forward, play some rugby, and when you do that, all that other stuff goes out the window. You know? We've got nothing to complain about, and they'll come hard, and we'll come hard, and we'll see what happens.
Steve, what do you say to Ngani and young Jordie Barrett at the back to, I guess, ease any of the trepidation or nervousness they might have about the baptism of fire in their first test?
Well, both of them have pulled the jersey on before, so they know what's happening. And it's like every week. come Thursday after we finish training, it's about forget about everything, just go out and trust your instincts and play. If you do that and you bring the right attitude through, having prepared properly, then you walk down that tunnel with a lot of confidence in yourself and your teammates and trust, and that's what sport's about. It's preparing to the point where you can trust your own abilities under pressure, and we've been pretty good at that over the years. So that formula hasn't changed either. Like, it's, right, boys, just get out there and had a good week. You've trained well. I've got one training run to go. Once we get that out of the way, it's now right. Just get yourself there where you need to be. Don't overthink it. Just go and trust your instincts and play. And it's been a formula that's worked pretty good for us.
Steve, can I get your thoughts on Maritoja's performances against your boys in the last?
Pretty good.
What have you made of him as a player?
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Steve, can I ask you about the Barrett brothers and what they're like within the group? The Barrett brothers and what they're like within the group, whether they're their own unit or how much they...
I'm a wee bit deaf in my left ear.
So,
brothers in the group.
Yeah, the brothers in the group, the three brothers, whether they're their own sort of unit or how much they are, their own guys. How much you see them together.
In their own way, they're their own unit, obviously, because they've got their own gags and they've got their own nicknames for each other. And I heard one this morning, and I said to Brodie, what do you call the brother that for? He said, oh, that's the guy out of Dumb and Dumber. So they have the ability to take the mick out of each other, but the whole team is like a brotherhood. It's a close unit, this group, and so no one's free from a bit of banter, including myself. They've got to be good at it because I'm not bad at coming back. And we enjoy it. Like, we enjoy having a laugh when it's the right time to laugh. And we enjoy working hard together, and that's one of the formulas of what makes us a good team to be in, to be part of.
Steve,
Have you ever done anything? Sorry, have you ever done anything like this, three brothers in an international team or playing at the level that they play from one family? Seems quite nice.
Well, if they're brothers, hopefully from the one family.
Modern times, Steve.
Yes, God, Andrew, sharp as a tackle always.
You played.
I guess in my own playing career, I played with my two brothers, but we weren't not at this level, obviously. We weren't that good, the three of us, but the Whitelock boys have been here before. We've had other brother combinations, so everyone just gets treated the same. And so the big thing is that everyone thinks they're brothers when they come in here anyway. There's like one big family, and but in answering your question, is there little things that happen within the year? Well, there probably is. As I explained at the water fountain this morning, the ribbing of each other is probably a little stronger.
Steve, why is it even part of the fortress that it is to the All Blacks?
Well, again, I think it's been painted that by history, I guess, because we keep winning there, and you keep winning, people start, having to explain that, so they start calling it a fortress, but it's just a rugby ground, which is the same size, and I don't think that the Lions will be sitting there thinking it's a fortress. They'll be saying that to themselves, we've got an opportunity, and funnily enough, it's the same opportunity we've got.
So you don't think it gives you 10 points head start when you play at the ground?
Well, if the scoreboard pops up and we're 10-0 when we run out,
that'd be handy.
We'll take it. But I don't know.
Steve, we shouldn't let the occasion pass.
Sorry, Mark, Sav, and James down the back.
We shouldn't let the occasion pass without just acknowledging Kieran's achievement on Saturday night, 100 tests.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think like to play one test for any country is a massive achievement. To be able to play 100, it's fantastic. And when you look at the people that have done that for the All Blacks, there's not many of them, but they're all in their own right, world-class players in their time. So, it's a massive achievement. And we've got another couple of guys playing their 50th test, which I think is a massive achievement too. So, but in the norm for us anyway is that the team comes first, and there hasn't been a lot of talk about it. It hasn't hardly been raised actually. So, Yeah, that's the mark of the man himself, and the same with the two guys playing the 50. They'll take a moment to reflect on it once the game's over, win, lose or draw, and should take a lot of pride in it because it's going to give us an achievement.
Steve? Steve, you mentioned before about trying to keep things similar this week, but in this sort of occasion, do you get swamped by good luck messages, advice from every man, woman and dog in the country? I saw you walking last week down the street and you could hardly walk 5 metres without a Lions fan wanting a photo. I mean, is that a different sort of pressure?
No, look, you just come to expect it. The job comes with a lot of advisors. And look, you enjoy it for what it is. If you didn't have those people that were passionate and keen to tell you how they thought about it, then you wouldn't probably have the All Blacks. And I've always thought this, that our fans have a massive part to play in who we are, because they have a massive expectation. Do they get a little bit more nervy when we lose? Of course they do, because that's only natural. And that's what we're probably experiencing at the moment. You know, people are thinking, well, this has not happened before. You know? It has, but a long time ago since we lost the game in New Zealand. So there's a lot of nervous other people out there. But for the team itself, we know what we have to do. We've got to prepare really, really well. We've got to make sure that we don't get too hyped up or under-hyped. We've just got to get out there and do our job and do it to the best of our ability. And then, in doing that, hopefully we're good enough to win the game. If we're not, then we'll learn something, and that'll be good. As I said, if we are, then we'll learn something, and that'll be good. But, you know, people in New Zealand and the Lions fans are here because they love rugby. So when you go for a walk, you don't go out the hotel thinking you're going to get away free here. It's not a free walk, this, you know. You pull your hoodie up, you put your sunglasses on, but they still know who you are. So you take your hoodie off and sunglasses off and hold on to your wife's hand and hope like heck that they don't want too many photos of her. She's way better looking than me.
You can understand why they would though.
That's what I just said, she's way better looking than me. So, but do you stop your life because of that? Do you shrivel up and become a flower that needs watered all the time because you stay inside, or do you go outside and enjoy being alive and then accept that, yeah, some people want a photo, and okay, how long does that take? And when you get sick of it, then you shorten the walk up and come back home. But, you know, I think, as I said, we've got great fans and they have high expectations, but our internal expectations then have to be higher. And as a result of that, you know, we've got to where we've got as a rugby nation. And it's one of the reasons why we love the Lions, because they bring passionate fans. And, you know, if you take a snapshot of when the whistle went last week, and all those red jumpers just about jumped out of their seats onto the pitch, didn't they? You know, it's got to be good for rugby. The only way we can keep them quiet is make sure that we do the job Saturday. And, you know, the only way that the Lions can get them jumping is that they do the job. So, yeah, it's great. It's something we're really looking forward to, because it's going to tell us a lot about ourselves and where we're heading. Steve,
how has Ben Smith, how's he progressing away from camp?
Yeah, well, you've jumped the gun there, James. I was going to tell you all about the good news. Bender has had some tests done over the last few days, or the last 7 or 8 days in Dunedin, and he's been cleared of concussion. He doesn't have a concussion problem. He wasn't knocked out. What he does have though is a inner ear malfunction, which is causing him to get a bit of vertigo and dizziness. That's now cleared. So you'll probably see him if you come to training today, because he's coming back up and he's going to be around the boys and train. So yeah, that's great news for Bender and Codie. Takes a weight off their shoulders knowing that what we've deemed to think was concussion 2 or 3 times this year was actually another problem which they've now been able to identify and start to medicate and fix, which is great news.
Thanks everyone. On that note, we'll wrap
Cheers.
up.